Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a Certified Zentangle Teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Inapod from CZT Carole Ohl. Now, this is a neat border or line tangle, whichever phrase that you prefer, and it's super easy. And for those of you like me, non-artists, kind of the wonkier the better. So the more whimsical the better, because we in Tangle Addicts we have changed. There is no more wonky, or I should say whimsical is the new wonky. So that's how we exchange that phrase. Anyway, so this is fantastic. Starts off with let me back this up a little bit here. There we go. Starts off with a squiggly line, and I'm going to go diagonal on this. So, squiggly, or you could kind of think of this as maybe a continuous S shape, however you want to think about it. And I'm like, okay. And it's just kind of like, however it ends up is how it ends up. And it's okay. It's another one. This is a great lesson in that no mistakes, there's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle, because there aren't any number one, but this one especially, because it exemplifies that. All right, next step is we're going to do a crisscross over what we've done, so kind of like the opposite. Now, the first one I usually will do kind of fast, because I just think, oh my goodness, I don't, just my own internal struggles with just doing something off the cuff. And to some, this might sound silly, but I know that there are a bunch of you out there that feel the same way as I do, and so this is why I share it. One, so that way we have camaraderie on that one side, and then on the other side, just understand that there's some of us out there that just, even something simple like this, it just takes a minute. All right, so by crisscrossing, now I'm going to decide, what do I want to do with this? Oh, I'm just going to do this. All right. So what we want to create is little gaps where, where the like the peaks and the valleys are. So we're going to, you can kind of find a way to cross. And so, like I said, the second time I kind of go just a smidge slower, because I'm just trying to gauge and go and crisscross in places somewhat strategically, we'll say. Then it's kind of rinse and repeat. So if it helps, turn your paper, turn your tile, because what we're going to do is we're going to go over what we've done, but we're going to expand it a little bit. Okay, so by that I mean we're going to crisscross the same places like this, but as you see, it's not quite orating, but I guess you could say sort of. And my paper is moving, so I'm like, so it's like it's not crossing where I want it to cross, but it's okay. Then, in whichever way is easier, you can either, keep your paper in the same direction, but we're just going to alternate. And so trying to cross at those same places, but just expanding this out just a little bit, like so. And again, I'm just going to, I don't know if it matters that I go either side. It's just sometimes it's easier to just keep flip-flopping, so I should do that. All right, so, and let's see. So that's one, and then I think we just go one more. So we essentially have 3 lines on either side. Okay, so working to kind of crisscross at the same point, while kind of crossing at the same area. Good. And then, what have I done? Oh, I have to start under. See, and you really, actually, you don't really need to flip it, because you're still going over, under, over, under. So just never mind that. unless it helps you. All right, so then we end up with this. Next step is we're going to add some orbs. So into these middle sections, and what I like to do is I'll start in the middle and just make some orbs. Now there's a couple ways that you can do this, so maybe I'll do them both of those ways. So this is like a full orb, we'll say. Sort of full orb. I'm starting, and I start where you know, on the orb next to it, so that way I assure myself that I'm at least butting it up next to it. Okay, and then with that, you know, see how we create these little gaps. If you've watched any of the other videos, that's one of the big things that we do is we fill in those gaps, and you see how it makes a bit of a difference. Now another way, you know, maybe I'll do it on this one. Okay, so we'll do this again here. So just, you know, a big orb like so, just kind of reaching from the top to the bottom like so. Fill in those little gaps. Oh, I lucked out and I didn't, well, no, I got maybe a little gap on either side. All right, so another way you can do this is, so still start with a big orb. And it's like, and I seem to just fill the space. But you could also do like where, kind of like the hollow bow technique, where it's part of the orb will essentially be behind this. So I'm starting here, it's like I'm drawing just a C shape, like so. And then like on this side, I could do the same thing. So, and then doing it again and again. And it just kind of looks like they're, like this one is the center and the other ones are just kind of stacked a little bit behind. So I just want to share that as an option for you. Although, if you do, well, you know, I'm gonna make more of a gap. So the fill in, right? If you've been following, number 1, course correction. That helps with the no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle. So it's like, well, you know what? I can just fill this in. I can make this curve a little bit different. I can thicken this line here a little bit. We'll just adjust that curve. Maybe this curve a little bit. And I'm going just slowly adding, so that way it's just to not further what I've done. So there we go. But I kind of like having the orbs on this one just kind of, you know, like this. But it's one of those, it's up to you, and I like to share different things that I have seen, or different things, you know, on from the step outs that I've seen, because a lot of this is us each personalizing it to however we want. Let's see, in that one I'm just going to fill in. And there's no, you know, right or wrong with number of orbs inside. It seems like, I guess if I made them a little bit more elongated, then I could fit more in, but that's something that you can play with. Okay, yeah, because see, some of these, so I could fit a little one in the side there. Let's get in that little. Okay. And that's it. Now, shading wise, you can have fun with it. I think in the original step out I looked at, she doesn't really have shading, but this is also where you can have fun. And I'm just gonna put some in these crevices here. And this will see that has a little bit of a gap, or actually like this. Maybe this is better instead of putting it in the space. But so just where all of those lines kind of come together. And then I'm just going to put a little bit, and personally I like to put a little bit and then go from there. So if I feel like I need to add more, then I add a little bit more. But I would rather start light and go dark, because we don't put erasers in our kit for a number of reasons. One of which is, well, because there's no such thing as a mistake in Zentangle, and that art kind of represents life. And, you know I wish I had an eraser for some things, but you know what? There isn't an eraser in life, so we don't put one in our kits. Which, say, as I'm coloring this in, which, adds to, I always have some personal stories, and so it's neat how sometimes Zentangle can, just by doing stuff, figuring out how you can make something that you've drawn that maybe you didn't care for so much, make it so that way you do like it, or at least, hey, yeah, it's okay. I'm at least happy with it. And so if we take that attitude into life, it's kind of interesting. So there we go. Now, you could also, if you wish, and for those that, so if you want to make these into gems, of course you certainly could, depending on how big. And I do have, I'm not gonna do that on this one. I don't think anyway. Maybe this middle one. I'm just gonna put some on maybe the center ones. I'm putting a little bit of graphite all the way around. Well, some of these, there's not a whole lot of room, but you could add a little graphite to them. I do have a video on gems, so if you want to do something like that, feel free to watch it. It's what I call, jokingly call Heather's way of doing them, which just means if I can do it, you can do it. I always need to find an easy way. Again, not to be an artist. I wanted to try that. I wanted to do them because it's like they look so cool, but didn't feel like I had the skill. And from the videos I watched, it was just like, oh my goodness, this is so complicated. And then I was like, there's gotta be a way, and there is. All right, and so I'll just share with you really quick. So like this orb right here, and I colored it in quite a bit. And a lot of it is strategery on, shading in, but then also having a nice little, well, let's see if this will work. A good jelly roll. I could have just done maybe a little dot. I don't want it to dry, because sometimes it takes a minute before it shows up. But by just adding a little streak or a little ball with a white pen, white jelly roll, we create what looks like a little piece of shine. Or even just, having that little open bit, that kind of creates the illusion of something shiny. So anyway, so check out the video on that. So if that's something that you want to do. And I think I have posted also, it might have been it was a replay of a class called Transcending, and in there I showed like how to do some water droplets and things like that. So, and you can see like on the top here that white is starting to come through. Like I said, sometimes it takes a little bit for the white gel pen to dry. Let me try it with this actual jelly roll. That's a little bit whiter. Yeah. So anyway, you have that to have fun. And I do believe that you could, if you wanted to stack these, you certainly could and fill in an area. And that would be really, really cool. And I think that's it. You could also do it on a bigger scale. I for whatever reason, I did this on something, and something I was doing for like Halloween, and I found all kinds of what seemed to be Halloween themed tangles, and so I did a pumpkin with kind of spooky tangles, and so Inapod can certainly look like that. Just depends on how you do it, and the whimsicalness of it. I think it can be both beautiful and kind of spooky, just depending on how you spin it and what you pair it with. So with that, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, would love to have a thumbs up, and feel free to share. Of course, that certainly helps me. Any comments, feel free to add them. I love to see them, and especially if you're also the non-artists. It's just always fun to get to know all of you. So we'll have our own little, extra club, but we call it the Tangle Addicts Club. It doesn't matter. So anyway, love to see comments. And then also, if you subscribe to the channel, would love to have that. Click the subscribe button, and then also that notification bell next to it, so you can decide how you want to be notified, if you want to be notified at all. And in the description section, I will have a step out for this, as well as links to connect with me. I do some classes that are free, and I have some paid classes. I also have a membership club, so that way if you really, really like it and you want to have some ongoing stuff, it also helps to support me in doing the free classes and these and things like that, so I can afford the time to be able to do it. So take a look at that on my website, and with that, I wish you happy tangling.